the way from St. Martin. Hopefully this live will go okay. We have a really bad storm happening outside, so bear with me if it seems a little choppy at times. And if I sound loud, it's because I'm trying to overcome the rain that's hitting the roof today. But it is actually Tuesday. It is our 7 p.m. live that we do, and it's part of our Share Good Health Stories and Solutions, where we have real people show up and they share real stories for real solutions when it comes to natural health solutions. So I'm very proud to actually introduce one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, and her name is Claudia. We go way back. We actually used to be former managers for another major global company. A lot of people remember that company, and and then we were actually like ships in the night. We never actually got to work together, but it was ironic that I actually got to know her on this island, which I now call my home, because we shared a flight to this island, which is now my home in St. Martin, the Caribbean. I got to know her when, on in the security line, when she was drinking her infused water. She was already into health and wellness way back when. This was many, many years ago. So I should have taken the indication then that she's somebody I should have followed, because my pathway went a different route. Well, I actually did not necessarily look after my health, and I got very, very sick. So Claudia was smarter than I was because she chose to go into a pathway of health. And this is why she's now been an immune wellness educator, for the last 11 or maybe 12 years now. So tonight we're going to learn some lessons from her, but we're also going to follow up on what we've been learning over the last 4 weeks. And we had a series of talk that kind of educated people on the importance of preventive health when it comes to making sure your immune system is in optimal shape. Because if you're not able to fight off what is being thrown at us in so many different directions, then your body is not going to be able to get through it. So it's one of the most overlooked processes when it comes to health that I've ever come across. And now that I know, if you know, you are those that are embracing this are feeling good. And that's my mission, is to help people feel good and in turn share good. So today is the last day of our Immune System Intelligence Foundation's opportunity to earn a certificate. If you haven't watched the shows, don't worry. We'll make sure you get to go back and look at some of our replays. You can also follow us on Facebook, and also on YouTube. All our recordings are up there at Feel Good, Share Good. You can find them on YouTube, but we'll make sure you have the link to find out where to find all the replays are. But tonight, even if you haven't watched the previous shows, you're going to learn a lot. So on that note, what I do have to always start the show off with is a little bit of a disclaimer, because we are the Good Health Talk Show's conversations for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. So please consult a qualified healthcare professional before starting any new wellness, nutrition, a supplementation program. Any products discussed are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. So just so you know that we always have to put that out there. The other thing is, we're very, very thankful for those that show up for these calls, but also those that follow us are actually a part of our community. We do have a private community. So right now we're public. We're live on some Facebook channels. We're live on LinkedIn and a few other platforms. But inside our private community is where we can get real. That's where we get real. And that's where we have to talk about, solutions. This is where we share stories, and some of them are extremely emotional. But tonight, we're bringing the series together and exploring how daily habits, supportive choices, and proactive wellness mindset can help create that lasting immune resilience. And we'll cover the key lessons that we learned over the last 4 weeks. We'll also have a great opportunity to get to know Claudia. We'll introduce you to the word rejuvenate, which is part of like the 4 R's. And for those who know, will know. But we're going to talk about why rejuvenate should be used in the language. And we're also talking about tomorrow. Tomorrow is the launch of some amazing things. And yes, I know it's Canada Day, and I'm coming from Canada and now live in St. Martin, so it's really close to my heart. But tomorrow is big, big for those who are into wellness, and we'll explain why. And also, we're going to give you a little bit of the insight of the certificate details, but those that are wanting to eagerly get the first of our certifications that we're offering out. So, my name is Jillian, for those who don't know, who are seeing me for the first time, but I am the host of Share Good Health Stories and Solutions. I am the founder of Feel Good Share Good. I'm dedicated to creating a welcoming space for story sharing, wellness discovery, and building healthier habits through community and education. My background has been typically in helping build out communities, but educate and create processes and systems, and basically in teaching leadership and running, corporations. And I've also worked as a trainer for sales trainer and social media and many avenues until such day that I actually had to reinvent my life when I had a head-on collision. And then subsequently, I became very, very ill from overuse of certain things that were prescribed to me. And anyway, long story short, I found a pathway that helped. And if you knew me then and you see me now, you'll be wanting to know what I'm doing because, at age I'm 59, and I feel great and I feel really, really good right now. And I'll explain why later on in the show. So on that note, I do want to introduce a very good friend of mine. She is a very, very, very close to me, and I want to make sure she gets spotlighted here, Rexy. She is an immune wellness educator, but she is a sales professional. She's a trainer. She's a translator. She's a motivator. She's a leader first, but she's also a community builder as well. She's an expert in helping others build a strong foundational for long-term wellness through education, community, and absolutely one of the most beautiful people I've ever met in my life. And I'm very fortunate to have you as my friend. So I'm going to stop the share here. And it's now over to you, my friend Claudia. How are you doing?
Thank you, Jillian. I am doing absolutely fantastic. I really have to say that this week has been great in so many ways. It was my son's graduation week from 8th grade. He's very tall, so when I posted on Facebook, people are like, already in high school? I'm like, no, 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 it's only 8th grade. But he did fantastic, and I got to do my mom thing, which is the absolute reason why I started taking care of my health and why I actually chose for life to be my partner company to be with. I had Mateo when I was 40 years old, Jillian, and moms that have their kids late, especially if it's their first one, they could probably understand my feeling when I actually did the numbers and I said, oh my gosh, when this child gets married, if he ever does, because this generation, you never know, at around 30, I'll be 70. And that's when I said, I need to make some changes. And that's how it all started. I actually said, let's take care of me. Like I want to be there for him. So I'm excited. It was a good week, Jillian. It was a great week.
Well, perfect. I do have some questions to ask you. So, to help get this conversation going regarding to the immune system health, because I know your story, but not everybody has heard your story, right? So you left a corporate company, and same company I was with, right? I had to leave because of health issues. You chose to leave because of the mission and the passion of that company that you're now partnering with. But I would like to know, why is this mission so important to you? Why did you choose to just start over and from a huge opportunity with the company that we're in together to focus on this as your primary mission now?
Well, Jillian, it really, and I forgot, I'm sorry to actually correct the PowerPoint that you sent me it was actually 14 years that
Oh,
I've been with this company, but I'll tell you why it's 11. It was 14 when I started trying the product, and it was 11 when I chose to leave Avon. So you're right, it was 14 and that's to answer your question. I realized that I had not listened to my sister for many years, where she was trying to give me this information. She was like, you have to try this product. It's amazing. It's going to do so much for you. And, you're going to prepare yourself for the baby. And I was like, no, 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 I'm going to have a baby. I don't want to try any products. And that this is going to, this is a weird name and it's a weird product. I don't want to hear about it. And so once actually I promised her that when Mateo was going to be born, then I would try it. And when I did, it helped me so much in so many ways. that I always regretted not listening to her before. So what happened was I started on a mission of just really telling people what had happened, and also telling people don't take as long as me to say yes, because that is the problem that we have had for so many years, and that I've had to live for so many years, which is people come to us when their problem has, that when the fire is already very hard to turn down or to turn off completely. And so when people are calling me and I'm like, but I talked to you about this like so many years ago, why are you coming to me now? And so we are still working on helping people realize that it is very difficult to create wellness on a sick body. And so why don't we create prevention on a healthy body instead of trying to fix something that it's going to take us months or years, or we don't even know if, the immune system is something amazing. So I really am on that path of prevention. And again, because that's how my sister tried and I did not listen. So that basically is what my calling was, which is I'm going to talk to people about immune health, and I'm just going to tell them about this thing. And so that's how it started.
May I ask you how you keep it simple though? Like, you were talking about sometimes it was confusing to you when you first came, but how do you keep, now with all your knowledge, how do you simply explain it and empower people to understand it? How do you?
I had to learn with a lot of examples, but really the best part to understand it was that the immune system was a security system, or it was a security guard. It was just a whole bunch of security mechanisms that were there for us, and that all we knew about it was that it would fight something. So we always said, oh, I have a virus or I have something like that, and that's it. But really, the immune system is communication, it's repair, it's cleaning, it's just renewing those damaged cells. And so it's keeping everything in balance. So all we knew before was, take some orange juice and it's going to help you with your immune system. That's it. That was my knowledge. That's a lot of people's knowledge. And I said, but if we have this immune system that has all of this intelligence built on it, and we're not maximizing it, because our job is not to replace the immune system, is to support it. So why not teach people that we have all of these mechanisms and help people understand how they can maximize what we already have been created to do. Like our immune system is created to do all of those things, not just boost. We always talk about boost. You see antioxidant juice, or berry juice, boost. It's not about boost. It's about balance. And with what we are educating people on, it's all about the whole immune system optimizing its efforts to do what it needs to do on its own.
Well, and the funny thing is because, we talk about immune intelligence, we talk about immune resilience, and, but simply, like you just said, it's a protective mechanism, right? Your body already inertly has this, from birth. Plants have it. They have a way of, they see a pathogen come forward, they're like a threat that comes forward, and the body goes into protective mode based on the history of what it's learned, right? So we get our cars tuned up, and I love the analogy of the security alarm. We actually, and we have the security mechanisms in place for our home and for our family, and we have practices, but our system, our body naturally does that, but sometimes it gets compromised, right? So, so how do we, help secure that, or maximize or balance, our systems so that we can effectively fight off those threats, right? So that is something that was hard for me to understand. And I have no need to go and learn the acronym for this, the acronym for that, or the medical language, when we are not in that position to do so. I'm not an immunologist, but hey, we have a lot of them within our community. We have access to amazing scientists within our community. We have amazing studies and publications that I can easily reference from from a website very easily, but I also like the stories. And that's where you were talking about, how do we keep it simple? So one of the reasons why we created the community is I want to be able to send somebody to a story where I can show somebody the results. right? So without sharing some of those results live here right now, if you're, what I would invite you to, and that's if anybody can share the link to the community on our live chats, it would be great because inside these communities is where you're going to find those testimonials, where you're going to find those stories. And those are what people are sharing. And I think that makes it simple, Claudia, is like if it's relatable.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, Jillian, and I just want to get a little bit more for people that don't know where we're coming from. So um in North America, and I really do love when you came in and you brought so much value to the English community. So let's just talk a little bit about that because I do want to, give honor who needs the honor. And it's really that maybe in the Latin American community, we are able to share a lot of more of those testimonials just because we have a lot more and we have a lot of them, but we didn't have them and we were not sharing them. So for us to create that private community, when you created it and you said, but I need these stories, and we started translating them or asking people to do them in English, that was there, that was not there before. It really started giving more value to what we were doing, which is like we need people in North America and the English markets to listen to what we have, to understand those testimonials, that it is not just something else out there. It is not just something, it is that we have the most powerful tool to help our own immune system balance and do what it needs to do, not only boost when it needs to boost, but actually slow down when it needs to slow down. So for us to have the community and the testimonials that we have guarded in this private community that we're posting here, by the way, if you're on Facebook, ask us how to get into that community. It's invaluable because nothing is better than a testimonial. When you know somebody is telling you that happened to them, they understand, maybe I understand a little bit better. I know that I'm not alone, and maybe this will help me as well in my body the way that it helped that person. So there's nothing like a testimonial. I can give them all the science and the patents and the college studies and the $100,000 lab whatever, and it's not going to be as effective as somebody that tells you that helped that other person, and it's just like that. So I do thank Jillian that you were able to put everything in order that we needed for our English market. And I know this is not about you, but I do have to give you credit because it wasn't there before you were here. So thank you for putting that group together for us. And it's a community. So thank you for supporting the community.
Thank you. And I think I appreciate the call out. It wasn't expected, but it's not about Jillian, it's about the community and it's about,
exactly.
But it's about the message. I think sometimes we forget it doesn't, regardless of what the community name is about the message. It's about the message. How are we getting what we know out to the world in a way that makes people feel like we're not selling and we're sharing? And that's one of the things I feel now obligated because somebody actually, I had a conversation, I'll use as an example of somebody I haven't talked to in almost 5 years, 4 to 5 years. And I was on my health kick then, and I was feeling better. I was in a really good space. I was actually, I released 31 pounds. Actually, it was 55 pounds, and I felt good. But I wasn't. I was still puffy, and I was not looking the best that I know I am feeling. Not being vain, but I'm actually in a better shape than I was before. Yes, I do fluctuations. Yes, I do menopause. Yes, I do have puffy days. We all go through that, right? But ultimately, cognitively, functionally, I feel younger and I feel good because and that's my mission is if I can help my family, if I could have been able to offer what I know to my family that unfortunately are no longer with me, then I want to at least be able to offer that to some friends. And if they can't get access to this, I want to be able to share what I know, which is what historically I have helped people earn, and then figure out a way to share it. And then, but it's all about believing it. Like, remember our motto is believe, achieve, succeed. I will help, if you believe in it, then you will achieve success and you'll be able to pass that success forward. But that's one of the things we sometimes forget that we have the opportunity to heal naturally. And I never knew that before. And having somebody that suffered, with everything I've been through, I don't want somebody doing that. I don't want my children to have to care for me in my later years. I don't want to be a caregiver for, I'm already a caregiver now. I have been historically for the last 13 years from one parent to another. I don't want to pass that on to my children. So how can I be preventative now? How can I do that now for me for to share care for my family, right? And that's what you like you yourself, Claudia, you're having your child later on in life. Imagine we weren't looking after ourselves at this stage, right? What is it going to be like 10 years from
Exactly.
now?
And at that
You know?
time, I am married now, but at that time, I was a single mom and I was taking care of an aging mother and a baby. And so I was doing the numbers. I didn't know if I was going to get remarried or not. So I was doing the numbers and I said, by the time that I am 70, I'm sorry, yeah, 70, my mom will be 90. And if I'm not caring for myself, how am I going to care for her? And then at the same time, Mateo was growing. So it was just really about opening my eyes and saying, I need to do this for me. And whatever is the investment, I need to invest first on me so I can be there for them. And so that's when I actually, like I said, listened to my sister who had already been in this company she's now on her 19th year, which means, and I'm 14. So she had been already in this company for 5 years. And she had already started seeing some of the results, very effective. And that's why she was sharing it. So what happened was that when she first came to Canada and started telling my friends, because I was still in that company we were in, and I was like, no, I don't want to lose my job. You can talk to my friends. Kuwinder is here. She was one of them. We had, and so nothing happened yet. But when I did start taking these supplements, it was immediate because my friends were the one that I didn't even have to share it with my mouth because the results were there and we're less than 3 months for results. And it was my friends who said, you look great. And you look so much better with what you had before. It's not happening now. And I can't say what it was because we're live. But whatever was happening in my body was actually just getting better. And they said, I want what you're taking, whatever it is. I was like, oh, it's that thing my sister has been talking about, and I have no idea how this works. But that, Jillian, was when I said, but if I have no idea how it works, how many people out there do not know how the immune system actually works? And that's when I started my journey of I will learn how to talk about the immune system. And so I don't talk about supplements and I don't talk about products or I don't talk about ingredients. I actually talk to people about how their immune system works and things that are created by God in our body get depleted and we need to just put them there again. That's how simple it is. And that was the beauty of it, that we just started educating people on immune system. I remember my good old days with my friend Winder. We went to like schools, we taught kids and we taught adults and we taught seniors and we're like, we're going to talk about immune system to every single person that crosses our face.
Yeah.
And we did. So that's what we have been doing, educating Canada on how immune system works.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you because in ironically, having us we worked together on a different project, when I was training you actually ironically on social media back then. And then we invested and during my health transformation, I was looking for options and but part of those options did not include the idea of preventative measures for immune system, and it wasn't until I learned more about the actual products of but the benefit of a healthy immune system, regardless of the products, the benefit of having a healthy immune system and partnering into what I was looking at was really about gut health and resetting and releasing toxins. It just seemed a perfect partnership. It was the evolution of what we already knew. You can lose 21 pounds in 21 days, but if you're not necessarily fighting off the pathogens and your system's not ready to fight off what's inside you, it's not going to be as effective if you do both or a combination of all, right? And that was what I just learned, having gone through that. And we'll talk a little bit more towards the end because I just want you to close off this segment with your interview, and then we're going to close off with a couple of review from the slides and talk about the certificate. But what would your final statement would be for advice for somebody that's new to the concept? Like what advice would you give them if they're confused or they don't know how to explain what we have?
More than explaining what we have, because I was thinking of the sentence when you sent me the questions. And so my sentence that I want to leave people with is consistency always beats perfection. So what I have found and what I have, found through educating people is that changing one habit at a time very slowly, and this is why my brand is Grow Daily, which is just one habit at a time. If it's sleep better, it can be 30 minutes or going to bed 30 minutes earlier or waking up 30 minutes later. It doesn't matter. But consistency, like do it every single day or as many days in the week as you can. If it's managing stress, buy a stress ball, buy a dog, go for a walk, whatever it is, just one daily habit on that. Moving your body every day. You know what? As easy as standing up more times from that. You and I sit a lot of the time during the day. So just standing up more times. Eating better, staying hydrated, building healthy relationships, having purpose, faith, reading your holy book, whatever it is. If you do it consistently, it's always going to be perfection. Because if not, we're very hard with ourselves. And so Grow Daily is about just every day grow 1% better than what you are. And it's going to help. So with the part that you're saying about how do we fit all of this, communities there. I just had I don't think she's here today, but one of my leaders, we were talking and she said, I just don't know what to do when. And I said, you don't need to, because that's what we are here for. If I'm not there, somebody will be there, because it is about community. It is not like you and I met in something where we helped each other. Let's say that we kind of did, but now that I know what real community is, I don't think we helped each other the way we did. It was very competitive. And here, unless you grow, unless you grow, I won't grow. And it doesn't mean you because you and I are in the same team, but unless anybody in this audience, including Jamie, our new person that came in today, and I want to welcome, unless everybody grows in mindset, in daily habits, in feeling welcome, in health, in anything, then we don't grow, because we are one. We're one entity. We're one world, and that's what becomes so beautiful about it, Jillian. So that's for that segment.
And thank you so much, Claudia. I'm gonna pull you back up towards the end, but we are now going to go through. I'll just put the slide on for the next segment, and we want to just do a bit of a review. Does everybody can see the slide?
We can.
Can you see it? Okay, perfect. So basically what we learned over the last June was we learned over week 1 was the future of preventative health, where I did a presentation and giving a segue over the actual program. Week 2 was actually where we interviewed Kevin Moore. I know Claudia was supposed to speak, but Kevin stepped in for our Father's Day show. And great presentation for somebody that hasn't watched that show. By the way, when I share this link of this PowerPoint presentation, I'll put it in the live chat, but also in the community. These are hyperlinked, by the way. So you just click on the link when you go through the slide, and I'll send you straight to the actual presentation. Okay. But for the recording, you can go to the YouTube channel. But the presentation content is all there. And we did a great show with Kevin Moore. Thank you, Kevin Moore. He was one of the original employees with For Life way back when, 30 years ago. And he taught a lot. He shared a lot of insight about the company, and also how he has focused on generational health with his family because of it, because he's a father of many children. I don't want to say how many, but he is very much a faith-driven, beautiful man, and I'd love for you to watch that show. The Transfer Factor and Immune Intelligence show, I believe that was the one that we had with Sonia. So thank you, Sonia, for being the guest speaker and standing in for me when I wasn't able to do the show. It was really nice to have her give her insight too from her perspective, coming from a health and wellness benefit background. She is somebody that has a lot of expertise in the insurance industry and has worked for insurance companies in the past. So definitely nice to hear that perspective from somebody within our community. And then the cellular defense and daily wellness. This was a powerful show. I want to say thank you to Elena. who shared her testimonial from her daughter, Gabriella, who just did one of our recent programs where she released 20 pounds in 21 days and stopped smoking, stopped drinking, stopped, with some bad habits that she was doing. And, it was emotional, right? Emotional to hear. Not only was her daughter had great results, but her and her mother did a program together, and they held hands together. And, Helena released 20 pounds and the daughter released 20 pounds. And it's nice when it's not just you attempting to do a health program, but it was nice that she was able to bring her families as somebody she cared about to do it alongside her. That was a really good show, and that's a really good recording to go back and watch. And then the Building Immune Resilience Lifestyle, that's actually the one that we're talking to today. So you'll be able to see this particular link by clicking on this PowerPoint presentation for today as well. So this is what we learned this month. But I just want to remind everybody that your immune system, like Claudia mentioned, it works for you every day. It's the daily foundation, is the ultimate gift that was given from your mother to your child. When they're born with the colostrum, it's like a transfer of knowledge that's given to your child. And today's market, not everybody gets that gift from their mothers, right? It's from birth. So this is why we need to sort of come back and make sure that these systems are at an optimal level. But it's also something that plants do too. We are now getting more involved in understanding the immune system when it comes to the plants. And that's really exciting. So we talked a bit about that in one of our previous conversations. But immune health is a daily foundation to help you protect, detect, communicate, clean up, repair, remember, adapt, and maintain balance. Wow, it has a big function. And the fact that we don't talk enough about it, it's scary. That should be one of the first things that they teach you in school, you know? So recognize, respond, remember, and remember the fourth word. We've been typically talking about how immune system is about recognizing and identifying what belongs, responding and activate appropriate defense, and remember, learn from experience. But the newest evolution that we have is supporting our ongoing renewal of our stem cells and rejuvenating our body. So tomorrow is when it's available. There's a new product called Transfer Factor Max. We've talked about this one in one of our previous shows, and I'm really excited about that because, this is something that's very innovative. If you don't know enough about it, watch one of our previous shows because it does actually explain it. And, Kevin Moore was jumping up and down in his seats. I can't wait for this, because it's going to be a game changer for many. So on that note, rejuvenation is part of our daily wellness lifestyle. Wellness is about returning to basics, better choices, better habits, better awareness, better routines. And like Claudia said, consistency in your habits. And that's really one of the things that I'm going to be focusing more on an ongoing basis is what are my daily habits? What is my rhythm that I'm showing up with each and every day? So daily habits, like we said, Claudia mentioned most of these today, is about building long-term strength through consistent small actions. Nutrition first, fueling your body with nutrient-dense foods. Not all foods out there is good for you. It's not, check the labels, check the source. How were they grown? Is it in a soil that's actually got lots of minerals in it? Our soils are in such detriment that sometimes I'm not even sure that the food that I'm getting on the shelf is actually real in some cases because they're so fibrous, they don't have the taste. So just do your due diligence and making sure that you're getting the nutrition on your plate. And if not, look at other sources, and there are some amazing sources out there right now. Sleep. We underestimate the value of sleep. If you can get a longer 7 to 8 hours or 9 hours sleep, that's a crucial element that we don't always take for granted. Make sure you prioritize that. It's restorative for you. Stress management. For those of us who are all talking about, cortisol stress, many of us have, but many of us actually reach for something called a Renuvo. Is one of my favorite products that helps with adrenal fatigue. That's one of the things I love, that support for that. So, but hydration. It's not just about drinking water. It's about hydrating and retaining the fluids from that water. It's about maintaining optimal fluid levels. It's maintaining not just the psychological function, but do you have the minerals that are in that water to be maintained and held, not just flushed through. So movement, like Claudia says, who gets up, who has an alarm set when they're sitting at the desk to make them to move, go for that 10-minute walk after they've had something to eat. Are they actually investing in maybe some tools that can help them, like, a walking treadmill with the desk raised up? Do you have a vibrational machine? Are you cognitively planning out your movement? And that's something that we all don't necessarily do. Gut health is one of the things that we focus on a lot in our community because we don't necessarily focus on the microbiome and the detriments of what can happen to your gut if you don't follow the right habits. If you wake up in the morning and have coffee first thing, you might be stripping your gut, So one of the things we always recommend people do before they start any health regime is getting their gut back on track and doing a reset, like picking out the reset that's best for you. And that's what we do when we talk about our Feel Good Again community is, are you picking the right starting point, the reset point? Cellular wellness is also a huge thing where we focus on foundational health. That was what we talked about with Helena, is how are we fueling our mitochondrial health? But ultimately, she just said it, Claudia just said it, community support. Where are you going to support? Who's going to help you maintain this? Who is going to help you be accountable? Who is there as a community that's on the same mission as you? We have to, don't forget, that's part of what we're doing, and that's what we're offering for you today, is join our communities. Okay. So the other thing we talk about is reaction to prevention. We've got to change the narrative from being reactive, which is like, I'm so sick right now, I'm going to go get a prescription. But then what happens is there's side effects in some cases, and then we end up having another problem. Then we have another problem. Do we have another problem? Why not get to a position where you're preventive and that you're building the foundation before a crisis? That's what we used to do. Like, make sure, we always want to look after ourselves first before we actually look after others. So let's start changing the narrative. Let's learn how we can be ready to rejuvenate in the future. And the final things I wanted to do is how we can learn better together. Community does encourages us to stay consistent. We need to get asked better questions. We need to share those stories and build a stronger foundation for our families. And I also want to make sure that you are here to learn, to support, strengthen, rejuvenate. Make sure that, our series, if it didn't give you what you needed, which is understanding about the basic foundational knowledge base, let us know. Learn the language, develop the vocabulary to advocate for yourself. If you can't advocate for yourself, invite them to a community that can help you. That's part of the reason why we created this, so you have somewhere to send people to if you can't speak for it. Explore habits. You yourself might be needing to implement a sustainable lifestyle change. And that's one of the reasons why we offer insight or connections with people within the community. If you're here because somebody invited you, go to them first. They're the person that's your ultimate contact. If they invited you to come to this community, they're the one that you should touch base with. It doesn't mean that you don't get involved in other communities. You can, it's your choice, but always reach out to the person that invited you first. And thinking proactively, anticipating needs and planning for your well-being. So as Claudia said, she's thinking about what is she doing today to affect the future. I'm doing the same. So that's my message out there, is like, what are you doing today to affect your future? What choices are you choosing to make that sometimes we're very now that we're not necessarily realizing the outcome could be detrimental. And if you have made some choices which are not, in the better, aspect of your health or for others around you, give yourself grace. Sometimes we beat ourselves up, or we avoid, putting our hand up when we have made a mistake. That's not a mistake, it's a lesson. And it's up to you to course correct for tomorrow by sharing better health conversations, improving your communication with your friends and your family, care providers. Let them know there's somewhere to go. That's what we're here for. I just want to make sure that I get that message through. If you have gone through the bad, like myself went through a trajectory where I wasn't sure if I was going to get out of, but thankfully with the guidance of the people that love me, they dragged me out and said, hey, you know what? There are options. And I thank a community for that. And I thank you for people that saw me as somebody as a project that they can work on. You might find somebody as well. So tomorrow we are in launching three major products that are launching tomorrow. That was a Transfer Factor Max. That's the Advanced Immune Support Formula. If that is something that everybody should be looking at, it's going to be the new flagship product for people. So if you are looking for an immune product to add into your regime, that is the one that I will be putting on your list tomorrow. It's available tomorrow. The Immune Tea is a botanical blend for daily wellness. If you also, Dr. Vaughn, who is one of our chief science officers with For Life and formulators, he actually did a presentation on Monday and he was talking about these products. So we can even send you the link to that recording. But one of my favorite products, oh my gosh, is the new Super Greens. I've been waiting for this. I have been waiting for this for like, years. I've been looking for the right blend of, Super Greens that not only taste good, and believe me, I tried every single one on the market because I do a program that involves a green drink and its importance for my program that I do. And this is probably the most nutrient dense green drink I've ever seen. But guess what? It has the added benefit of a plant-based transfer factor, which is immune system modulator, molecule, whatever you want to call it. It is something that's going to help you with your immune system as well. And that's amazing to me. So that's exciting starting tomorrow. But I do want to remind those people that have been attending these calls, there's an Immune Intelligence Foundation certificate. In order to earn your certificate, as a little reminder, you have to have attended or at least watched, or some of the replays, or at least read some of the, PowerPoints if you can attend. And most of these replays are found inside our community or even on my live feed, by the way. But you need to participate in the learning, like comment, make a comment, show up on our calls. It's nice to know that, and this is all honor system. I can't track this, but it's all honor system. I'm trusting that you do these things. Reflect, and we're going to give you a questionnaire that you fill in. And then you submit that questionnaire back to support@uplinepro.com. So Rexy, if you can just share in the chat the actual link, but we'll make sure we share it inside the community as well. But all you do is fill in the little answer, like very, very simple questions. I can even show you quickly right now. You send the submission requirements to support@uplinepro.com, put in your name, your email, your attendance confirmation. I'm trusting you that you've done that. I'm not gonna go back and check on you. I just have to trust. We're going to ask you question one is, what does immune intelligence means to you? Consider the following concepts. Basically out of those, what would you consider the four concepts? So there's added one in there, that we put in there, so you can check some of the presentations. The second question was, what are three things your immune system helps your body do today? We've already put that in one of our presentations. Okay, so you just look it up and then get back to us with the questionnaire. The third question is, what is one daily habit that you can support immune resilience, and why does it matter? I shared that just recently on a slide. And then the fourth question is name three new products launching July 1st. So I think it's pretty simple. It's a simple questionnaire for you, but what it's making you do is reflect, right? The question 5 is, what was your biggest takeaway from the series? That's the most important question. And what action will you take next? That's number 2. I want to know what action you're going to do next and whether or not this was of value to you. It's a lot of time and effort putting in by the, guest speakers and people behind the scenes. But I do also want to let everybody know, and please don't start crying, but we are going to be taking a hiatus starting next week for summer. We'll let you know, it's a short break for July. We're going to take a couple of weeks off to take your feedback. You're giving us feedback. We'd like to know what topics, guests, and wellness conversation you would help you the most, so that when we come back for our conversation, we're going to be able to be more productive going forward. So that's part of the reason why you give us feedback on the test, the quiz that we're sending you, so that we can be more productive in the future. But just a little side note, this Thursday, we are still going to continue our Thursday Feel Good Again talk. It used to be called Detox Diaries, but we decided to call it Feel Good Again because we want to talk about other topics. And this is a public talk. We're going to be inviting people eventually, guest speakers to come on this show. And it's really about resetting healthy habits. And by the way, on this note, I'm going to stop. Just going to bring up Claudia again for this conversation, and I'll stop the share for this. But I just want to quickly share, this what we've just been going through. You and I have been testing a new program, which is an all liquid, all program, and it's basically I'm on day 12, and I've released. And if you haven't seen it in my face, you can watch some of the previous shows. But I released 16.5 pounds in what it was 12 days. Claudia, 12 days, right?
12 days.
And I've been a little bit more diligent with the programs than Claudia has because I'm not as sidetracked with a teenage boy at the house who needs to go out to all the events. But Claudia has been testing the same program as well. So what was your feedback?
Well, Jillian, people that have been looking at my Facebook also, even though I'm excited to say that I've dropped 10 pounds in 12 days, I want to lose some more, but yes, I've been sidetracked with little things and things here, not doing my juices the hours that I need and all of that. But it just shows you that being busy, having a busy life, you can still do it. Number one, still managing, 10 pounds in 12 days. That's pretty good. I probably would be, but my goal is not, and going back to longevity, right? My goal really right now is dropping the weight so I can go back to the metabolic age, which is being younger than when my body actually feels. So when I started this, I'm going to be 54 this year. And when I started this 12 days ago, I was 55 according to my measuring scale. So I was actually older than I am, right, Jillian? And just in 2 weeks, I was able to bring myself to 53, which is what I am. So, hey, what if I can turn the clock back and give myself an extra year? So my goal in the next few days is to really see if I can manage to get to 53, because my birthday's in August. So my 54th birthday, I want to be 53 or younger, but 53 is fine. So again, I don't focus on age. I focus on my metabolic age, which is, like I said, my goal. My sentence is, before it used to be, I want to dance at my son's wedding, but my sentence now is, I want to dance when I'm 90. So
Oh, wow.
that's my goal. So I'm working on slowly reversing the time that.
And you know what? The interesting thing is, and I appreciate that you're looking at a different way of measuring your results, right? And that's one of the things. Like I right now, it's not typical that maybe everybody might lose what I did. I carried a lot of inflammation, having exposed to some mold locally, right? So and I'm highly triggered by that. So I knew I needed to release that. So, but I feel good because I've released a lot of the toxins that's contained inside that inflammation and then contained inside that water. So that for me was about how can I get rid of what I've been exposed to. So everything is about how can I release what does not serve me, right? And that's what we carry a lot of, stress and then a lot of inflammation or a lot of things that we're not able to release because of our system. So if we can give you a formula that works for you, whatever modification it is, it's about how can you feel good again. I know that's the name of the process in the community, but please, if you have questions about that, or you're curious to know more about that, please message myself or Claudia directly. You'll see our names on the events and also in the invites, and also Dodie as well. Dodie Dietz is one of our lead coaches as well, but make sure you join us on Thursday to learn more about what we've gone through. We're going to share the good, the bad, and the indifferent, and some tips along the way to make it easier. And then we're excited because what I did for this program is now available. It wasn't available until tomorrow. Fortunately, we got our hands on it, right, Claudia? And
It's
that's why
available
right.
tomorrow.
So now starting tomorrow, we can officially say, yay, come join us. This is what you need. This is available
Yeah.
now. It's not only to a select few that happen to be at the conference and grab some, freebies or grab some samples, or actually got to take advantage of an on-site deal, right? So now it's live tomorrow, and that's what's exciting about it. Okay. So on that note, I'm just going to close the presentation with a little reminder that your story matters. So I want to thank you here for everybody who showed up. Continue to share your stories, wins, and encouragement inside our community, because we're here to build better health together. But the other quick thing, again, it's all about recognizing, responding, remember, rejuvenate. By the way, that was one of the questions for those that are taking notes. The four, R's, your health choices and community matter. Submit your reflections, which is the form that, is in the chat, but we'll make sure that's on our live. To feel and to support at uplinepro.com. You'll get it if you answer the questions correctly. You'll get a certificate, which I hope you proudly share. On your social media. Tag me or tag Claudia. And we want to thank our sponsors, Upline Pro, for everything they do when it comes to giving out some gifts that we get periodically. But I'm looking forward to seeing the first person to respond back and tag me, and the first person I see, I'm going to give them a special gift, okay, by tagging me on that certificate. So thank you again for everything for everybody showing up, because we are Feel Good, Share Good, and I'm going to let Rexy closes out on the live, and then make sure we keep the Zoom open so we can answer some questions privately. Okay. All right, so we stop the recording.